Welcome to BunniPhish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as BunniPhish on Ravelry, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. Today is Friday the 20th of September 2019, and this is episode 49. How was your week? Okay, so I have the most exciting news. Remember how I was being a bad mom last week? Totally wasn't a bad mom because Gabriel did his testing and he's in the highest reading level for his grade level. I'm so excited! I'm so excited. So excited. I'm so proud of him. He worked so hard for it. And yeah, I'm super excited and proud. Other than that, I don't think there's anything like really major that happened this week in life. I feel very frazzled and rushed today, so I apologize for that in advance. My schedule has just been really busy. I mean, like kid stuff, and then there was a meeting for parents to meet the principal at the school this morning. And so I'm recording this in between that and going back to the school so that I can work, and then I have some errands to run, and then I have to pick up my kids from school, and then we all have to drive to Ohio. So that is where my mind is at right now. So it's like here and not here. Just so you know what the tempo of this podcast recording is going to be. It is what it is. I would put off the recording until tomorrow, except I'm going to a fiber festival tomorrow. So yeah, I'm not going to put it off. I'm kind of bummed though, speaking about that. I'm kind of bummed because I just got a message from my best friend. We were supposed to meet there to hang out so that we could actually see each other because we're trying to like actually see each other once a month. But now she might have to work, so I'm waiting to hear back from her. I hope she doesn't have to work. Anyway, I can remove this piece of paper because that was my reminder that my son tested up. And not just, he was at the lowest, so there's 3 levels, so he went up 2 levels. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So I have a finished object to show you. These are the one of my pairs, one of the many pairs you will see over the school year of school socks. So I knit these while working in the lunchroom at my kids' school. And as you can see, these are not matching because I didn't want to, let's see, the sock goes through it goes through a repeat to the end of the repeat, and then it just barely starts the next repeat. I didn't want to pull out all of that yarn, even though it doesn't really matter, it would be mini skeins or whatever. I didn't want to deal with that hassle when I just wanted to start knitting the second sock. So I just pulled it out at blue. It's good enough. They're coordinating. They're definitely like the same sort of sock going on. So yeah, good enough. My boyfriend will wear them either way. He doesn't care. This one's blocked and this one's not. I just finished this one yesterday, so that's why it's not blocked. The yarn is Regia Mountains and Fjords. So it's self-patterning. The yarn does all of the work. I knit these on 9-inch circulars while I'm at school. These ones are on bamboo, US size 1, 2.25 millimeter needles. And why am I rushing? I don't need to rush. I will try not to rush. Sorry. My brain is in 80 bajillion places. I apologize. So yeah, it's just a plain vanilla sock because I just like to work on plain vanilla. I've finally found the place in my life where plain vanilla works, and that is when I'm walking around at school. I have 2 other finished objects, which I recorded about a couple days ago, and that is also a really distracted little clip, but not because it's my brain being distracted, it was because my kids were home. So here's a little glimpse into whenever I try to do anything when my children are home. First up is the Super Lexicon socks. I did finish them. Yay! Look at how cute they are. The main yarn is Manos del Uruguay Alegria. I don't know the colorway. Please excuse the child talking in the background and making noise, even though I've asked her like 4 times to leave the living room. And I think she's just going to be grounded later for not listening.
Sorry.
Go to your bedroom.
Mom, could I have some cereal?
Yes.
So I could choose Rice Krispies or Fruit Loops?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go pick one out.
Okay.
And also, I like a cat.
Okay.
Hi, fans.
Okay. So, yes, back to these socks. This is why I record during the daytime when they're not here. Can we just... Manos del Uruguay Alegria. I don't know the colorway. The black is Premier Serenity sock in black. And this is the Zipper Lexicon pattern by Kirsten Hall. Why is she so loud? Anyway, these socks should not have taken me like however many months they took. They shouldn't have. I think it's been about a year. These socks, about a year. It's ridiculous. I could make a pair of these socks over a long weekend, I'm sure. No problem. US size 0 needles. I love this pattern. I've made it 3 other times. I will make it again in the future. Oh my goodness, she's so loud. She's probably not bothering you nearly as much as she's bothering me. You guys are probably like, I can't even hear her trying to pour herself cereal right now. And all I can hear is that. I should re-record this. I'm not going to, because I'm giving these to my sister tomorrow. So I need to make sure that I have this recorded so I can show you. And then the other thing that I have finished, I'm pretty sure that she just finds the loudest possible way to do everything. Okay, so this is roughly The Big Snowy Owl by Pearl Soho. This is where I was last week, just halfway finished with the owl. So I continued on, knit the body. Several modifications to the pattern versus this. This is, I think, bigger than the one they made. I definitely know that I did more repeats around than they did. I made the nose bigger because I cast on more stitches. They also, in the pattern, have you pick up these stitches right here and then knit, but then you have the whole body of the owl that you're trying to manipulate, and when you're only picking up like 10 stitches, that just seemed silly to me. So rather than having to manipulate this whole body every time I needed to turn the row because the nose is knit flat, I just knit the nose separate and sewed it on. It took like 5 seconds. And then the eyes, I crocheted them instead of knitting them. So that's completely not to pattern. Because I really, really don't enjoy knitting things in the round like this when I could crochet them so much faster. So that's what I did. And here's the owl. It's huge. It's wider than me. Yeah, see, you can't even see me. Do you feel like you're being watched? Okay, let's go back to Heather of the future, where it will be quieter and less childful. But she's so cute, right? She's so cute. She's just loud. This past week was such a prolific knitting week. So I may have had the toe of this last week. I don't know. I didn't put in a progress keeper, so maybe I didn't, I don't know. Where was I with this sock last week? It's a mystery. But I finished this sock, and this is made out of Premier Serenity sock. Premier Serenity sock in the chili colorway. And the first sock is finished. It's just a shorty, made it for myself. So the first sock is finished. The second sock is started. And this is what I will be working on today after I talk to you. So this second sock will be finished next week. Spoiler. So here it is. It's again just the toe. I do the toes separate from the 9-inch circular. I suppose theoretically you could do a toe on a 9-inch circular, but I feel like it would be super fiddly, and I would rather just do it magic loop around DPNs and then switch it to the 9-inch circular after. I think that I have the formula for this sock in my Revelry project page, which is something like school socks, because I'm just going to put all of the socks that I knit specifically at school that are like vanilla. I'm just going to put all of the details on that project page for this school year. I think that's the best way to do it, other than having a babillion project pages that I then have to update for vanilla socks. I started and finished another sock. This though, oh my goodness, my dog. So I just let my dog in, and she's laying under the table now, heavy breathing. I apologize if that bothers you. And also shaking my table, because apparently that's a thing that needed to happen. So I started and finished a sock this week. This is a DK weight sock though, so not even a real sock. I mean, obviously it's a real sock, but it's much thicker and went super, super quickly. This sock, I used the Talk pattern, which is my own pattern, and I think it's a progression, not I think, this is what it is. Talk is a progression of alternating garter stitch and stockinette sections based on a number progression, so it starts bigger, gets smaller. And on the original pattern, which is written for fingering weight, I think the patterning, the reverse stockinette on my size sock stops about halfway down the foot, but obviously there are less rounds in a DK weight sock, so it goes nearly all the way to the toe. This is a yarn that I don't have the label for. It's I think it's Universal Yarns Adore Color in the colorway number. I don't know what the number is, but it's DK, so it goes really, really fast. And as I was knitting, I was like, am I going to have enough in this 100-gram ball of yarn to do 2 socks? I should, but I was really worried. But I should be fine. This sock weighs 44 grams and it's 100-gram ball, so I should be fine. I should have a little left over so that I can put it into a blanket or something. Also, this sock looks really short to me. It just looks short. And it is, compared to my blocked sock, short. But it fits on my foot really, really well. These socks aren't for me. These ones are. The green ones aren't. The purple ones are not. But it hasn't been blocked yet. And it's really stretchy. So it fits really, really well. I'm really pleased with how the Talk pattern worked up with the stripy yarn. I really like putting patterns on stripy yarns, like patterns that people don't necessarily think should go on self-striping yarn, but I really like the way that worked out. And I just cast on the second one this morning so that I would have it cast on so that I can work on this maybe tomorrow when I'm walking around the fiber festival. Well, we'll see how far I get on this one because this is plain vanilla, so maybe I'll take that to the festival, but maybe I'll work on this one at the festival. I like to have options. And this is, I mean, it's not a vanilla pattern, but it's like just barely not vanilla. And it's super potato chippy because it has these sections of different textures. And they're some of my favorite socks to wear. I only have one pair of Talk socks, the samples, but I wear them all the time. They're some of my favorites. Oh, yeah. Is that all the socks? No, of course it's not all the socks. So I've also been working on Nightingale, and I am super close to being finished with the green color. So here we are. Oh my gosh, they're so pretty. They're so pretty. And this is where I was last week, so I made a lot of progress. I did a lot of toes in this past week. I don't know that I will make much progress in the coming week, but you'll see next week if I do. Yeah, I only have 3 rounds to go before I change to the blue. And if I think about it, I will insert a photo of how long the sock is now and how it's fitting. I really, really like it. I'm really, really excited to get to the blue. Still don't know if I'm going to get to the pink or not. This pattern is by Vintage Pearls. It's a paid for pattern on Ravelry. I'm knitting it on US size 0 carbons, magic loop obviously, and I really only work on it if I have another sock on the needles that I need to either start or finish. So that's why I might not work on it this week. I don't know. We'll see what happens with school knitting. So I'm going to go on a little tangent before I talk about my other works in progress. I think that coming up very quickly in works in progress, I am going to make some tube socks like I did for my kids a couple years ago, last year, I don't remember. And for my boyfriend's nieces because they like unicorns and stuff, and I made those unicorns last year and they were cute, but man, I hate making toys. Hate it. But I'm thinking that maybe I could, oh, excuse me, make like little ears first and then knit a tube and then attach the ears to the tube and maybe do the rib color in a different the ribbing in a different color as like the mane, and then make a little unicorn horn and embroider or intarsia or duplicate stitch a face onto the legs of the socks. I think that's what might happen for Christmas because I really, really, really don't want to make unicorns. I really or mermaids or anything. I just really don't like making toys, and I would do it, but I don't want to do it. So I'm gonna try that, thinking that might be a thing. So anyway, that was one sock or one pair of socks, and I will pull out the yarn card to show you again what the yarns are. So Cyborg's Craft Room, what is that? Spoonbridge and Cherry Bomb is the red. Marigold Jen dyed Marigold Duh. I'm super sad that she has stopped dying. Also, that's recent. Since last time I talked to you, that I found out. I don't know how long she's been planning on not dying. Another crafty girl did the yellow, which is It's Electric. Leading Man Fiber Arts did Yarnakukin, the green. So next week I will have possibly some Sunbelly fibers on the needles. I haven't actually knit with their yarn before, So we shall see. But all the yarns that I've worked with so far for this project are lovely, and I do have some of the new cakes of yarn in here, the ones that I haven't touched yet, the blue, purple, and pink. Sorry, I'm pretty sure that was a school bus just driving by. But I also have the leftovers, and as you can see, there's a lot of yarn here for my future rainbow scrappy socks. Since I finished so many things this past week, I also picked up an old whip out of I have a giant tote that has all of my whips that are started just sitting in it so that I know it's there and it's very full so I can see it. But anyway, it's cuffed down. So I had this, so I almost doubled the length of this sock. Oh my goodness, dog. What are you doing? So yeah, I almost doubled the length. And this looks so good on camera. Oh my gosh. So this is the Pomatus sock by Cookie A. And you can either purchase it as part of a collection or it's a free pattern on Knitty. And the pattern on Knitty only has one size. The pattern in the collection has various sizes. So I'm doing the free one. And I'm just barely into the final repeat on the leg before I start the heel and everything. It's really, really nice to work on a heavily textured sock after all of these vanilla socks for work. And it's just so beautiful. I don't know why I set this project aside. I really don't. The yarn is Dreaming Color BFL sock. It is 85% BFL, 15% nylon. And I don't see a colorway. Am I making that up? Do you guys see a colorway on here? It doesn't matter, it's beautiful. And I really, really like to make BFL socks and wear them. I think I have or had one pair of BFL socks. I think that BFL is a much underappreciated base, BFL sock bases, and I need to get some more in my stash. But yeah, oh, I could look at this forever. Look at how pretty that is. So pretty, so fantastic. It's warning, it's twisted stitches and it's ribbing, so it's a lot, but it's so beautiful. And of course it's BFL, so it's not soft like merino is soft, but it is pretty soft. And that purple is beautiful. My sister is going to love these socks someday when I finish them, whenever that is. I made really good progress this week. I'm hoping to keep up with that progress. We'll see. We'll see what I feel like working on. I also made really good progress on the design project that I currently have going. So here's the first mitt. So I was here, which means I worked, let's see, so I had probably 40% finished last week, and I finished the first one. And I've started the second one, and I'm not showing them to you in great detail because I have the first mitt finished and it's more of a rough draft than what the final pattern is going to be, because I thought that I wanted to do it certain ways, and then after I finished the mitt I was like, you know, it would be even better if I did this. So now I'm testing that on the second mitt, and if it works out and I like the way it looks, then I will get in touch with testers. Speaking of test knitters, I have a link in my Instagram, and if I remember I will put it below, for a survey for test knitting. So if you're interested in test knitting, I have these mitts, a pair of socks, and a hat that all need to be test knit soon. They're all intarsia in the round, but it's not as scary as it sounds. It's the technique that I'm currently obsessed with. So that's why they're all intarsia in the round. And yeah, it's not really that complicated. So if you're interested, go ahead and click that link, sign up to be a test knitter. I hope to be contacting people. Well, I will definitely be contacting people by the end of the month and hopefully a little sooner than the end of the month, but I just keep finding that I'm running out of days. I get to Friday and I'm like, where did my week go? I'll tell you where my week went. So one of the secretaries is on a trip. I told you this was happening because I was working in the office a couple days last week. Fine. Well, I've been stopping in the office to give one of the secretaries her lunch so that she can eat because they didn't hire a substitute to fill in for the secretary who's not there. And so the first day that I ran the lunch, I was only in the office for like 15 minutes, but it's been progressively longer that I've been staying in the office just to help catch up. So yeah, it's fine. It's just that takes away my whole like afternoon errand running time. So I've been having all of my errands in the morning, which is fine, but at the beginning of the week, before I knew how my week was going to be, I was like, okay, I'm going to dedicate an entire morning after child drop off to having to go to work, to being at the library to format patterns, because I can do a rough draft on my computer, but they have nicer software for like the finishing format of my patterns. Um, yeah. So there's that. Um, so by the end of the month, I should have something for test knitters to actually work with. The hat pattern, I think, might be completely finished. I have to throw some more information on the sock pattern, and um, the mitts pattern is really close to being like, not finished, but like a rough draft finished for um, my test knitters. I don't like to do all of my final formatting until after test knitters have given all of their feedback, because if I have to make a drastic change, that can, like, a drastic change on page one affects all of the rest of the pages. This is probably not interesting for you. Sorry. So those are the mitts. They're going along really well. Um, the plan is to finish the second one in this coming week and get to the library at some point next week for some, like actual substantial computer time for me. Another problem is, if I take my kids, then my kids want to play on the computer, and at the library, you can only have one person signed in per account, and could I sign my children up for their own library cards? Theoretically, yes. Do I think they are responsible enough to keep track of library cards yet? No. So we just do everything on my library card so that it's all in one place. But maybe. My son's getting my son, wow. Bleh. My son is getting a wallet this weekend because he hasn't seen his grandma since his birthday, one of his grandmas. And generally she sends a package, but she just kind of forgot because it's the beginning of the school year and stuff. So they're going to their dad's. So she's going to see them this weekend, and she is buying him a wallet. So if he manages to keep track of this wallet, then I will let him get a library card, and then we can both be signed on to computers. But right now that's not a possibility, and I can't sit down and do actual pattern work if I have children being like, okay, is it my turn for the computer yet? Can I do it now? Can I do it now? So that's where the design mitts are going. And the last, like, work in progress, yes, that's the word. The last work in progress I have is a little cross stitch. So Haley sent me this pack and 2 others last year sometime. And I asked Instagram what cross stitch I should start, and the pattern, the cross stitch thing that got the most votes was this little hippo right here. This fox was in second place. So maybe after the hippo, if I'm still feeling like I want to cross stitch, then I will start the fox and then probably do the owl so that the whole kit is complete. We'll see though. I can't make that promise because I don't know what triggers me wanting to do cross stitch and not. I'm not very far. I like to do, when I'm doing cross stitch, when I'm actually like doing cross stitch, I like to do 1 strand a day. So 1 length a day. If you can hear that weird gurgling sound, that's what it is. It's my dog's stomach. Sounds crazy. What did you get into that you had to go eat grass? This is 2 strands and like 3 stitches worth of stitching. So I'll finish up this strand today. It doesn't actually look like anything yet, but it'll be really cute when it's finished. And I don't know where this needle minder came from. I mean, I know someone sent it to me, and I have my suspicions of who sent it to me, but maybe I'm wrong, so I'm not going to name any names. I don't know if there's a shop attached to it or anything, but I really, really like needle minders because I don't like sticking my needle through the fabric, and I don't like just leaving it hanging free. So the needle minder is super nice for that. I'm excited for this cross stitch. I haven't cross stitched in a really, really long time. And yes, I know that I have an embroidery, a paisley embroidery that I could have picked up and worked on, but I didn't want to. I wanted a cross stitch and not an embroidery. But the embroidery is on my radar. I'm starting to feel like a little bit of project guilt about not working on it, so maybe you'll see that soon. So last up is what I have been reading, and I have read a medium amount. I set a goal for myself for the month to read 100 pages a day. And I think I'm probably right around 100 pages a day. I know there have been a couple days where I have only read like 10 pages in a day, but I think I'm pretty close to hitting that mark. I finished Teeth, and that story that I was telling you that I didn't like, that was actually the story that I was on. I hadn't finished it, and it was super scary. It's just that it's not scary, it was creepy. And a lot of the stories in the book were not creepy, even though they were about vampires. There were two, I think, that were like really creepy because the vampires were kind of old school demon vampires sort of thing. Not necessarily demon, but just like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain, but they were really creepy. And I did not like those stories because I don't actually like scary stories and creepy stories. I just like vampire stories. So I didn't like those two, but I liked most of the stories in the book. So after I finished Teeth, I started. Also, sidebar, not that any of you would know, but where is my copy of An Artificial Night? I recorded the podcast last week, and then I must have taken the book somewhere, to my bedroom, to my car. I don't know, but I haven't seen it in an entire week. It's just missing. And I've looked for it. So I must have set it somewhere like abnormal. I don't know where it is. I've asked everybody in my house, have you seen this book? So hopefully I didn't take it out to my car and then lose it somewhere. Maybe this dog's stomach, can you hear her? It's ridiculous. Maybe I should check in the back seat of my car. So sometimes, especially, let's start at the beginning of the story. Um, all the time, I have my purse in my front passenger seat because nobody sits there. Because my children are too small to sit in the front seat, and I very rarely have an adult passenger. So that's where my purse goes. But every once in a while, I have an adult passenger. So maybe I moved my purse to the back where the kids sit, and when I grabbed my purse, the book fell out. I should check. I have not checked. I will check that today. I will see on my way to work. So, I don't know where that is, and I really want to read it because I'm ready. Like, I've mentally prepared myself to be ready for this horrible villain who steals children. Like, I'm ready. I'm in the mindset to be able to deal with that. So hopefully I find that soon. I have not finished that. I just don't have it to show because I don't know where it is. So after I finished Teeth, I picked up this. I think I told you last week that I was having Instagram vote for the order of my books. So I'm just going to go through that order really quick. So this one was number 1. This one is number 2. And then an extraordinary union. The ask and the answer. Steampunk, which is a collection of short stories. And you guys can find out about the other ones as I read them. So these are what's coming up next on my to read list. But I read Lucifer, which is not something I would have picked up normally, but I went to the library's website and I put a bunch of books by Holly Black on hold. And this is by Holly Black. So I was like, okay. It was okay. I mean, it's a short graphic novel, so it wasn't a huge time commitment. I don't know, it wasn't good, it wasn't bad, it just was a thing that I read this past week. I've started Children of Blood and Bone by Tommy Adeyemi, and this I picked up because Kalisha of the Quirky Monday podcast has been talking about it in relation to a project that she did, a knitting project. She based the project off of 2 of the characters, and I don't always pick up books that other people are recommending on their podcast, like if it's just a one-off mention, but if it keeps coming up, then I'm like, okay, let me find it, let me read it. So this is, it's a book about kind of 10 years after a huge genocide happened, where people who were able to do magic were killed off. Their children weren't, and these children if you're born with white hair, then you have the latent ability to become a magician. Not a magician, but like it's a magi, but magic is gone from the world, and there were 10 clans of magic users. For, yes, 10. So I'm going to flash you this page because it's pretty interesting. So it's 10 years after that happened, and all of a sudden magic might be a thing again. And it's really, really good. If you like fantasy, and it's a young adult novel, so it goes by really quickly. I really, really appreciate it. I think this book is really, really good, and I would recommend to anybody. And I know that was a really, really poor summary, but my head's not in the summary game right now. And also, I am a little more than halfway through it. There's 527 pages, and I am on 296. So I'm really, really enjoying it. It's really interesting, really good. The world building is excellent. The characters are well written, very interesting, and there is a ton of character development in the book, which I really, really appreciate. I really like character-driven books. Not so much an action-driven person, but this book is character-driven and action-driven, so it's good for both types of readers. Okay, I think that's all that I have. Now I'm just rambling and being ridiculous. So I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string, and I will see you next week. I always forget to say this, but let me just throw it in at the end, even though I just said goodbye. If you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment, let me know what you're working on, let me know what you think about anything that I talked about during this episode, any questions. You can either leave a comment below or contact me through any of my socials. Yeah, okay, I think that's everything for real this time. Where's my daughter when I need her to put the plug for me? Oh, right, she's at school. Okay, bye.